What's up, dudes? FooserX here. FooserX Reacts. And we're going to get to a game I think I'm in. And Mr. Moreland and Ellen Moon, they are doing a watch party. I don't know what video they're watching, but I think it might be this one. And I'm not going to release this right now. I'll release this after the watch party. But I think it'll be interesting. And if you guys don't know, Brandon Moreland is one of the elite Pro Master foosball players in the world. So good stuff. And I think he is also doing these foosball lessons, which is nothing really new in terms of there's always, I think, people out there that want to help others, but I think he's actually breaking it down into something way beyond what I do here. And that is just like mechanics of foosball and really helping players get the best out of their mechanics and stuff. And you need that. I mean, we can sit here and talk philosophy and advice and defensive strategies and offensive game plans all we want. But if you're not physically set up to play this game, which is what you need to get that kind of advice from somebody like Brandon and other pro masters, you're not going to be as fast as you need to be, or you're going to be expending so much wasted motion and effort. So go check him out. Go see what his lessons are all about if you are a new player, and because that's what you want to learn from is you want to learn from the best. So I don't. Oh man, 2017. This is a long time ago. This is man. I think I just started coming back on the scene after a really long layoff here. So my game is. We'll see where my game was, and I am playing Mark Naday. If you don't know Mark, he is a great player out of Denver, and he started probably about right when I was out of leaving the scene because I just things came up. He became one of the best rookies. He won at the beginner level, amateur level, expert, and I think right around this time he was doing really good in terms of I think he might have won some expert singles titles, and he made it to the finals of pro singles a few years ago against James Castillo, and his nickname is 5 bar Doom because his 5 bar is automatic for the most part. It's really simple brush but automatic, and we will see what happens in this game.
Oh wow! Imagine that.
Uh, let's get this going. I am I am just wrapping up my 2 bar. I do not usually use a wrap on the 3 bar because I'm a man. I never saw the point in wrapping this back row, but apparently most people do that. I guess because you want your hands to feel like every bar is the same. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I did that when I was touring a long time ago. All right, and it's funny too. Just to start off, is I I would never get in back like this against somebody right off the bat, but I've been playing Mark for years, and he's kind of developed his hacks recently, some really good ones. So normally I would just give this defense and get up on the front 2 rods, but Mark is really good at hitting this little tiny hole over here, and then every now and then he'll go here, and he's got a great left hook. So immediately I have to get back there because like, hey man, like I, he's just really good on the 5 row. So I know what he's bringing to the table, so I'm immediately getting back there. Yep, really great brush, super disciplined player. But we will check out this D, man. I mean, we're not just here to react to me and my bad habits. We're still here to learn. So, and this is great because a lot of the players we play in foosball, we are playing them over and over again. And when I'm reacting to a lot of these matches, like I don't know their history. I don't know that they've played last Tuesday or 5 times that weekend or whatever. So you're not just playing this ball, you're playing that person. And if you played him before, I had to take into account his entire game. And I think this is, I can't remember who told me. It could have been Gumison or Yor. It might have even been Robbie. Like, yeah, maybe. It sounds like something Robbie would say. You're not just playing this ball, this current ball. You're playing a ball that you might have played like a few weeks ago or a few months ago. Like that's how mental chess goes. It's not just this match. It goes back, your entire history of playing that person. And so on this defense, Mark's gonna get this set up. I know right off the bat his pull side is fantastic. He can almost maybe go dead row. It's unraceable. So look at the D I'm gonna give him right off the bat is like, nope, you are not gonna get your best side. I'm gonna make you beat me somewhere else. So that's what that defensive first 3 seconds is saying to somebody like, hey, I know your best side. You are not gonna get it. And then so it's forcing him to say like, because he's reading that right off the bat, he's saying like, oh, you're not going to give me my best side. Now I'm going to have to go shoot something that maybe it's my second best. I'm not super comfortable with it, or the fact that I'm going to have to read something other than my best side. And then after a couple seconds go by, I switch it up. I'm still on his best side. And so now I'm just reinforcing, hey man, I'm not going to give you this side. And after what 4 seconds or so, then I come off it and I start blocking the other two sides after I put it into his head like, hey man, you are not going to get your best side. So just defensive stuff. That's what you guys want to do sometimes. That's another strategy. In those first few seconds when you know they're not going to shoot, they're just getting a read on things. Just talk them into what you want them to shoot. This is me dictating to Mark right off the bat how he's going to shoot versus as an offensive player, you want to be the one dictating. So this is the goalie dictating what's going to happen on this table, and that's why it's an easy block. Like, nope, I am not going to give you that. I'm going to switch it up. I'm still not going to give you that, and then you can sort of come off and be like, oh, I have talked you into what I want. Now I will block what I want. Um, this is a defensive zone that you will see a lot, and the holes are usually like this short hole. I mean, it's huge right here. All you got to do is tuck it in behind this dude, or you can bust out along. So those are the two shots. And there you go, Scott. I don't know how good I was when this was playing, but if I was wrapping up the 2 bar, it probably meant my 2 bars doing really good. We'll see. Yep. Yeah, we'll check out this defensive series here. Is I know Mark has got a great 5 row. I know that when I move, he will key off on that sometimes. So I'm showing him D, and then I just stick. And as a foosball player, we're anticipating holes being open. It's an unnatural motion to just stick on the wall, and you can't help yourself. I do this all the time too. Like that defense kills me, and Ryan Ward does that defense a lot too. Is you think, hey man, you cannot just stay on the wall. You're not gonna just stick on the wall. So I will pass into your guy, and it works. Check out my first possession. And so actually, like, no, I do not take my time, and that's a bad habit of mine. But at the same time, I have a lot of success with it, and therefore that's why that bad habit is ingrained into me. And the first pass in my series, a lot of the times, is a very just kind of like a fast pass up. It's not a it's not a slow pass. So when I toss that ball a little bit faster, that up is there like 99% of the time because it's a faster toss. People just don't have it in them to stay on the up. Yeah, man. Good D. Good D from Mr. Mark. uh, so let's just check out this. So, um, yeah, Marcus got a great left hook, like super good, and tried it, didn't work out, and then I come back, I'm like, hey man, you want to play that? I will play that. And again, like what I'm seeing too is, to me, like I don't know, like again, and Mark, this is not the Mark we know today. Like Mark right now, he has refined his game. So like we're nitpicking here because we're teaching, but at the same time, I know this is not Mark's game where he's just hacking so much anymore. He is kind of like toned it down in terms of 5-row hacks, and he is playing to his strengths, which is a dominating 5-row, but he still will throw out the hack if there's an opportunity for it. And in this game, my hands back there because at this point, playing Mark all these like for this period of time, I knew like his weakness was he would just hack too much and he would just give up too many possessions. And he also didn't have the 3-row, so he didn't have as much confidence in his 3 rows. So that's why he started hacking. Plus, he wanted to develop his hack game. So I don't know what was really going on. It's definitely not the smartest brand of foosball. But if you want to get your hacks better, you got to do that. And then for me, I am a very methodical player. I don't hack a lot anymore. I used to live by the hack, and now I don't. And so I see Mark is not having a hand back there, which means this whole half of the goal is wide open. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do that. And that hack is in my hacking tutorial. Yeah, look at that. And this is textbook how to do a brush. Mark has one of the best brushes like I've ever seen. Like if people talk best 5-rows ever and you get pro masters, like there's not a lot of experts or even pros and below that I would say have one of the best 5-rows ever. But I would put Mark Madej in that category. And it's funny too because he has had this series in this level 5-row from like a beginner straight up through the ranks. Like he was crushing Pro Masters 5-rows as a beginner using this super super simple series here. You set it up and you're still you toss it really slow and you make that read and you're just reading the openings this whole time. I mean, you don't even need multiple tosses when it's that slow because you're just able to get a read on things. So yeah, anybody who is a new player and wants to have a dominant 5-row, you do exactly what Mark just did, and very quickly you will see your 5-row percentages go up. Just very slow, very patient, wait for your opening, and get a feel for when holes are going to be open. And again, we can break this down. Um, the defense is, hey, last time I showed him you were not going to get pull side, but then I kind of came off of it. And so I know, like, hey, man, last time I did this, now I'm going to try something different. Now I will show him the pull side when he's setting it up. And I know that he's not going to shoot it now. So I'm showing him, hey, man, that pull side is open, but I know you're going to take it faster than the clock this time. And it's just, man, you are a great goalie, Mr. FooserX. Damn, you are a good goalie. And it's a lot easier reacting to shit when you know what's happening. Like I know I know how I block Mark all the time, so it's very easy to talk about this to you guys. So good stuff. And again, great hack there from Mark. This blends right into the series. I'm not a huge fan of it because look at the way this position is set up. Like, this is a tight hole. This is a tight hole. This is a like no, man. Like, this is bad foosball for me to try to force it in there, to squeeze it in there. It, you just should be passing. But at the same time, it's like, hey, man, I know who my daddy is when it comes to my 3-row, and he's gonna lock it down. I will try hacks. Yep, I will talk a little bit of shit here because it's me. Gets a good grab, even though I have a hand back there. Can't reel it in. And again, like this is a strategy when you know somebody's best shot. I know Mark is really good. I kind of think of it in terms of one, two, three. Like, what are your best holes as a shooter? What's your best hole? What's your second best hole? What is their third best hole? And this is how you block them. You're like, I'm not going to get beat by number one. If I'm going to lose, it's going to be by number three or number two. And so I'm showing him, hey man, you are not going to get number one on me. I'm going to force you into those other two. And yeah, just good stuff. Man, that brushing series looks a little sloppy, but you get that really slow toss. Like I'm not bringing it down a few times. I'm not tossing it back and forth. That is a bad habit. Like I was talking about, I'm trying to fix that now, although I'm not playing right now. But if you just when you just roll it and toss it really slow, I guess you don't really need that sometimes. Yeah. And again, too, to go back to this like really slow toss, and then an immediate pass versus what the pro masters do in terms of multiple tosses, getting a feel for things. That's a bad habit of mine. I might be passing really, really good right now, and I probably passed really, really good in that tournament doing this. And I know for a fact I dominate the fibro against most players with this bad habit of passing on the first toss. And that's really, really good when you're winning. It You don't think about it and you get used to it. But the problem is, and this is a problem, this is a huge lesson, guys, is even when you're having success, you could still be doing things that are detrimental to your game. And this is what I'm doing here is I'm passing on the first toss, and because I'm having success with it, it's becoming a bad habit of mine. I'm not able to stop myself. And I notice this later on all the time when I'm even now currently, I will Swiss cheese everybody in the brackets, but I come up against somebody like maybe Robbie or Kevin Romero. They are on it. They're moving very, very fast, and I'm not able to have my same passing percentages on them. But because I'm so used to doing this one toss, I don't have the discipline to change things up. Like I can't help it because it's part of my food's identity that is not good. So that's a huge lesson for you guys. Even if you are having success with something, you could still be killing your game in the long run against the better players. And even Mark, when I play him now, like he is on that first toss, and he will shut my 5 bar down a lot of the times now. Yeah. Good stuff from Mr. Midday. He lets it come off the wall. He is have such a slow toss, and now he passes really, really high up in the lane, and he doesn't get it, but great pass. And again, this is me. This is me having played Mark for, I don't know, what, 10 years. I know he doesn't have a super steep down from way up there, so I'm not going to give him that. And you're probably saying, like, why is Mark getting the pits? Well, that's because my 2 bar's beast. Yeah, that is not uncommon pretty much for almost all foosball players. Like when my 2 bar is practiced up and I'm doing singles tournaments, almost every single player will do this because like you can't lose a game from the 2 bar, and it's just much easier to get back there and deal with it. Like I even have a lot of pros will also get back there. Yep. I taught Mr. Midday that move. Good stuff. Nice anticipation from me and got sucked into his D. And I'll pause this right here. I know that I think at this point I was hitting all my holes on my roller, but I know Mark's defense doesn't change. What and this is just something as a smart player you want to pick up on. And I'm playing him every on a weekly basis. I've been playing him my entire life. I know his defensive tempo for this defensive series for the match isn't going to change. So I don't really need to get very complicated with my 3 bar. I just need to sit on a hole and wait for it. And don't anticipate it. Just I don't need to mix up my shots. I just need to maybe pick 1 or 2 holes and just work those 1 or 2 holes. I don't need to mix up the whole goal. And you could do that against somebody when you know, oh, he does have that steep down. Good stuff, man. 5 bar of doom. And again, I am not letting him have his number one. Nope, nope, not there, not there. And this is a little bit on Mark's part right now. Is at this point you have to time the push side, but at this again, like 3 years ago, his push side was still struggling, and so I knew you want to have a cheat sheet on every single player, and because we play each other a lot, I know that like his confidence isn't there to blast a push side and work that push side. So I'm gonna show it to him and dare him to do that. And at this point, he's just like, I don't have the confidence to start breaking that out. But I guarantee you now, if I were to give him that same defense, he would start working it. Oh, damn, that was a good play. And that's what you have to have when you have people getting back there with 2 hands. You may or may not be able to beat them. Maybe like Ryan Moore can beat them. You have to have like a pass that gets it to your 5 or 3 row. And Robbie has a pass that goes from his 2 bar, and he will be able to catch out on the 3 row while their hands are in goalie. And yeah, I just miss execute. And Mark has that. I used to. I almost had it. You have to have that to bring them up front and keep them off balance. And again, he's the push side is the side that he needs to be working, but he's just not there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. I do have to work on my 2 bar. Yeah, he's great. 2 bar doom. When people get back there with 2 hands, you have to have a plan. Yeah, great 5 row brushing from Mark. And at this point too, I think in my defensive, you're starting to understand like, hey man, like he's starting to understand that pull side's not going to be there, so he's getting dialed in on the middle and push right now. He's like, this is the mental chess that's going on right now. And so now it's up to me to start adjusting. Like, hey man, I know I'm gonna have to start covering middle. Oh man, off the wall, nice and slow, little. Yeah. And again, because I know Mark's defense, I know he's not changing his tempo and timing very much. Um, I just wait for the crossover. I know I don't really have to wait for another crossover, so I will just go right around it. And if you go to my 3 bar quiz, this is one of the defenses that we'll see in there. Is I think it's a slow crossover defense. I can't remember who it was, but it's like you wait for them to make their first or second move, and then you just time a hole. And because I can almost go dead row, I just wait for the crossover, and then I'm not even looking over here. I'm just looking at this corner of the man just to drag it over right around that guy. Oh man. Uh, and again, to me, this is, I'm going to be honest, I think this is absolutely horrible foosball. But at the same time, if you are not scoring on somebody, you just like, you're, this is a difference between, we talk about this in some of the other videos. It's the one called playing to win versus playing to get better. And that's a whole video on its own. I urge you guys to go watch that video. Mark's playing to win here. He's like, hey, I am not scoring on the 3 row. I am going to try some 5 row shit. But if we were playing to get better, like our goal is to get better, to go on tour, to start dominating. No, you keep passing with your 5 row and you get up there and you start understanding, okay, what is he doing different? Why is he blocking me? I'm an expert player. I have titles. I have a lot of titles. I even think at this point he probably had a Vegas title. I know for a fact he had a few state titles at the expert level. What is FooserX giving me that I can't figure out? And that's what he needs to do. He needs to set that ball up, watch the defense, call a timeout, and do that maybe a couple times and take his time and start understanding, why am I not scoring? Because I'm living with the ball. I don't need to be shooting a bunch of shitty hacks because my 3 bar is not improving when I do that. And his 3 bar just needs to improve. And it's not going to if you keep hacking. So he got the point, but as to me, this is bad foosball. And I'm on it. Like I'm waiting for that. I I don't know if I jumped out of the way. I just missed it with this guy, but I am waiting for that hack from him. But at the same time, he is doing multiple tosses over here. Um, yeah. No, it's just, I mean, it's a good hack. That's why my hand's back there, but doesn't work out. Oh man, you picked it. God, that looks sloppy. Sloppy FooserX. Oh, take a timeout here. This is pretty much what I will do every single time. It's fourth point, and I get it on the 3 row. I'm gonna take a timeout now. I have done way too many stupid shit on the 3 row and been kicking myself after losing the match. So I forced myself. It's four. You're up 4 points. You get on the 3 row. You call timeout. Even if you don't, even if you're not even panicking, just to make sure you get a good feel for what's happening. You don't want to rush shit. You don't want to do something stupid. Just take a time out, breathe, go back in. Yep. And that is, um, we talk about that kind of defense too in our, excuse me, in our 3 bar quiz video. When somebody is not doing a lot of switching, you time one hole and you just wait for them to fully abandon that hole. And that's what I do right here. And I only know that too because I have, well, one, because I got a pretty good 3 row sometimes, but two is, again, I've been playing Mark for a long time. I know when I see his movements back here, I know I do not have to worry about something crazy happening. So I'm able to just zero in on one of the shooting strategies for that type of defense. And again, if you guys wanted to learn shooting strategies, go take my 3 bar quiz video. Yeah, man. Look how effortless um, Madei's 5 row is. It's just a slow toss, super slow, gets a read on it, And because this is a series, because he's releasing it at different points all throughout this game, sometimes up here, sometimes down here, sometimes off the wall, he is getting a feel. Like the longer the match goes on, the better his 5 gets because he's getting a feel for how you're reacting. And it's so easy. He is waiting for me to commit. I finally commit. Some of his other passes were up here. He waits for this to get very close to the wall, waits for me to commit, and that's a fantastic, super steep brush. And again, like we're just talking what is going on in the mind of players. Is I know that he I know that he knows I'm not going to give him pull side, but because I know that, I am showing him now, like, hey man, I am not going to go. I'm not. I'm going to take away the push, and so it's like this is like the double, triple reverse psychology going on here. Is now I'm on the push, even though I know his best side's number one, but because I blocked so many of them, I'm talking him back into that hole. Like, oh, maybe it is there. So that's what you're thinking when you're a defensive player. And I think this is something different too that we haven't seen from a lot of brushers on my channel. I'm trying to struggle. I'm thinking maybe is sometimes when I am about to pass, I do my little like I start waving, like I start hovering over the ball, and that is just to kind of fake people off because sometimes I will pass without doing that. And so sometimes it might be a tell, and other times it's just thrown in there to get them to commit. Again, I know he I know he is not going to start switching this up. I can't keep taking the pull side at the same timing, so I will take the pull side at the first opening this time. And then that's how you develop a series on the 3 bars. You can, I don't even think I've gone push side at all here, and you don't need to. When you are playing a goalie who you know their defense and you know their timing and you know what they're giving you, you don't need to work the whole goal. You're dictating things, and this is what's happening here. Is I have been taking my time, I've been being patient, and now I'll take the hole the very first time it opens, and I know it's going to be there because I've conditioned him to wait on it, to wait on my shot. So go back to watching my 3 bar strategy video, and this is how you do it. You work the clock. You mix up your timing. Sometimes you take it on the first opening, sometimes you take it on the third or fourth one. That's how you keep them off balance. Oh, Scott, you've got issues. Oh God, am I jumping out of the way on that? I don't know, man, because he was doing that a lot. I'm gonna see what I'm doing here. Nope, I was not. I just, huh? What? It's a great shot. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? You have a hand back there. You shouldn't be shooting that shot, but he's had 2 successes with it, and my hand's back there. So, what can you do? It's just a good shot. Nope. You want to hack? I will hack. Wait, and again, go watch my 5 how to hack. Once because I've been passing this whole time, he is not putting a hand back there, and this is the 2-1 like 4-3 hack, I think. So this is a very tricky hack. I learned that from Rico, and it goes in a very high percentage because they chase it, it stops, it kind of goes back. Good stuff. It's a good hack. Just again, Mark is living with this ball. Yep, there he goes. Like I'm gonna have to man up and hit the push, and he has it. Like he has a good push. He just at this point in his time, he just didn't have the confidence. And I just want to say before I left to come to Maui, his push side had become I feel like his best side, and he was reading it good, and it was unraceable. And Mark was really taking his game to places that I had not seen before. And he rolled over me, I think, the past time I played him because of that. Like when you have a dominant 5 row, you have the hacks, but you also have a dominant 3 row, and you are confident in all three of your holes. Like you're gonna win a lot of matches, and that's where Midday is at right now. But back then, we both had a lot of flaws in our game. Well, like I will keep doing this hack, and this is 3 times in a row, I think, and they all went in there because you got to learn that hack, dudes. It blends right in with your left hook. It should blend in with your series. You should have other hacks. Go watch my hacking tutorial on how to make all your hacks blend together. That is a very difficult hack to stop, especially when you don't have a hand back there. Oh, Mark, living with the ball. And two, like when I play Mark, like I pretty much resign the 5 row. I'm like, I'm just gonna take away the hacks and let you get the ball on your 3 row. And that's what you have to do. I need to get mine as fast as my days. When they jump in the pits, you should have that. You should have a way to get it to your 5 row or 3 bar. That way you tell them like, hey man, you got to get up there. God, look at that bad foosball from me. Look at that bad foosball. I tossed it from the fifth man all the way down to the first man, not taking my time, not working the clock, but yeah, that is not good foosball for me. Even though I'm passing good, not good foosball. Oh, he is changing it up a little bit, kind of. Well, not really. Nope, something different. Yep. Looks like I worked a few pull sides, and then I knew that you could see that the middle was opening up. And again, like, he is not scoring well, so he is just hacking, and because it's not a great strategy if somebody's hands back there and they're on that. Um, yeah, these are just wasted possessions from Mark. And this is just a singles tournament. This is not for state. This is just like a weekly. Like this match really kind of means nothing. And so if it means nothing, why would you not just keep passing and keep working on your 3 bar? That's just my reaction. And you have to do that. And I'll tell you why. Because you want to win. Like the desire to win overrides your desire to get better. And for me, I'm not touring anymore. I don't care. I'm just keeping my game as simple as possible. And I don't want to hack. Uh, I can't help myself sometimes. I don't know. It's like, look at that, dude. And I taught him this, dude. I will take full credit for this. You have to have this little pass in your arsenal. Even when I'm up there and I'm dialed in on his 2 bar, like he's still I know Mark doesn't really have a long, so I'm totally focused on this short hole right here. He still has this really fast 2-3-5 pass, and that's what I've been doing. But you see, mine's way slower. But look how fast Mark's is. Yep, very smooth. You have to have that. Yep. And at this point, too, for him to go to the pole, it's pretty much waving the white flag. Is like, I cannot score on you with my roller, but no, man, this is when you need to take a timeout and figure out why your roller isn't scoring. And I know why, because he did not have confidence in his push side. So you're going to go through that, dudes. You are going to go through that. And how do you fix that? How do you develop the confidence? Well, you can see right here, your three rows not getting better, and you're going to lose. And even if you were to win this, it's not making you a good foosball player. So how do we become a good foosball player when one of our sides is struggling, or maybe our five rows struggling? We keep with it, dudes. We ride out that learning curve. We force ourselves to do what's weak, so we start developing the confidence. Like if I was Mark, and in this situation, and this is really easy to sit up here and hindsight something from 3 years ago, you'd force yourself to start just going push side, and you're gonna miss execute. You're gonna get raced because you're gonna maybe give it away, but over a couple of weeks, that shot will become invisible. It will become your strength, and but you will never get to that level unless you ride out the learning curve and make do what is uncomfortable for you. If you are comfortable, dudes, you are not growing. That is a great mantra for life, and is a great mantra for foosball. And yeah, and at this point, it's just like, dude, that's not your main shot. You have not been shooting that for 10 years. This is why we call him Five Bar Doom. Like his passing is off the hook. Nope. Yeah, just trying another hack with my hand back there. That's just a turnover. At this point, it's just like a slow death. I am glad that Madej decided to post this match. uh, I yeah. I hope he I should actually. I hope he posts. Oh man, horrible. I hope he posts some of his newer shit. I'm gonna have to react to some of his newer stuff. And again, not this is horrible foosball on my part. This is what I nitpick you guys all the time. And you can see, like, it's easy to sit up here, even for me, is I'm not working the clock. I'm not doing multiple tosses. And when you do that, you're getting sucked into their defense. You're being predictable, and that is exactly what Mark is doing. He's like, hey man, I know you're passing on one toss. I'm not even giving myself a chance to let him commit or anything. Just really bad foosball on my part. And again, it's bad foosball because it's a bad habit, and I can't help myself. Like this is not a conscious choice of like, hey, is this a good idea? But just like when we watch like maybe Blake Robertson and Kane play Surge and James Castillo, it's like Blake was quick shooting and he was giving up a lot of possessions, and we see this with Kruger on some of his matches that we've reacted to. Is you can't help but play like that. It's bad foosball because and you can't help it. You know it's bad, but you can't help it. And I know my 5-year-old right there. That is a very bad habit, and I cannot help it because I keep doing it. It's become a part of me, and we want to stop this as soon as possible. But when you have success, you keep with it. You think it's working for you. And at least then on the 5-row, it's like, hey man, I saw the defense last time where he was buzzing in the middle. I will wait a little bit longer and go down when I see the buzz. So I mean, it's still you can still be a good player even if you are doing bad shit. But trust me, guys, that bad shit will come back to haunt you later on. That's why we're just talking this shit out. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably in control of this match, but I will take a timeout on a 3-row. And it could be too, like maybe my push side wasn't working anymore, and I'm just I can't remember. Yeah, all three of the. How do we beat a defense? The stop start kind of smart defense. We don't anticipate anything. All three holes are going to be open. We just wait for our hole, our best side. My best side is my pull side. I wait for it. Very easy match there. But again, it was only easy because Mark at this time didn't have a push side, and I had been there. I have had that same exact problem, and that is why I stopped touring like 3 years ago when I went to pros. For something happened in one tournament where my push side, I lost confidence in it, and like you can dominate the entire game just like Mark did in terms of, hey man, I will have total ball control, possession, whatever the advantage there. But if people figure you out on three row, it's not a fun time on the table. So good stuff, dudes. I think we learned there were a lot of lessons in here in terms of mental chess, in terms of how to beat different defenses and how to block people who have a really strong side and a really weak side on their roller. But we're not picking on anybody. I showed some bad habits. Mark showed some bad habits. We're just always learning, always learning. Have a good one, dudes. Mahalo.